going on, everybody? And welcome back to College Band Radio Live, brought to you by College Marching, sponsored by Flip Folder app. I hope everybody is doing well, staying healthy, and got a chance to listen to last week's episode where we talked about March Madness Cinderella stories and obviously preparation for the tournament beginning, I think, tomorrow, right? Isn't the first four tomorrow?
I thought it was Friday.
No, that round one is Friday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, starting.
Get those brackets in.
Mm-hmm. And so make sure you finish up your brackets tonight. And we've got a new episode coming out this Friday. Make sure to check it out. It's a good one. And I guess before we start anything, want to make sure to plug. Go follow us on all the social medias. Hannah, where can they find us?
You can find us on Twitter at College Band RDO. You can find us on Instagram at College Band Radio. And you can find us here on YouTube. Just go ahead and subscribe at College Band Radio.
It's free.
And if you forget any of those handles, just look up there. Just look there.
This is Craig's shining moment.
It is. I'm really proud of that.
Pretty
graphic.
nifty though.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
proud of that.
Let's hear it for Craig. You
Woo!
did great.
Let's celebrate me. I like being celebrated. Anyway, Alex, what do we have on the dock for the day? We have got a few little.
We've got a
plans.
couple things. Do we want to update our Marching Madness standings right now?
I think
For the
that'd be a
for
good
the
way to
Elite
start.
Eight?
That'd be a good way to
That's a
start.
Good way to start.
Alrighty.
Craig, pull up that bracket. That nifty
So
bracket.
here we go, everybody. Last week, we started off. First match of the week was Hey Baby versus Everybody's Everything. That one, Hey Baby, kind of ran away with it a little bit. It wasn't particularly close.
Would you say it was a runaway baby?
I would say
Craig's
that
in pain right now.
I
Craig's in
would
pain.
say that the next matchup was quite a runaway, and it ran quite away from Runaway Baby. Take on Me took the next prize right there. Alrighty.
Craig's in
love Take On
Then we
Me.
went on to the next matchup of the day, or of the week, where a Holiday went off against the classic band tune, Louie Louie. Unfortunately for myself, who is an
Fortunately for me.
avid Louie Louie fan,
Me too.
I'm just letting
Holiday
you know.
went
Holiday
and
lost
took-
steam at the end of it.
Holiday.
It
Holiday
did.
was up like 70-30,
It
and then
was.
it ended up only winning
I'd
with
like
a
to thank
59%
every
of the
single
vote.
member of the UNI Panther marching band who voted for Holiday, because that is our band's song. That is
And
it.
The next matchup we had was Crazy Train versus Tequila, and Crazy Train once again ran away with that one. It went chugga chugga choo
Sad.
choo all over Tequila. All right, the next one wasn't even close.
What?
The next one was not even close. Neck
I know,
versus
what'd you
Uprising. I don't think anybody is surprised by this one. I mean, that's the 2 seed right there.
Number
taking on
one
the 15
overall
seed right there. You
seed.
know, easy win. Alrighty, now we've got Hand Clap versus Final Countdown, and obviously, you know, Final Countdown wants to make it to at least the Elite Eight, if not the Final Four. You know, it's the
Final
Final
Four.
Countdown. So Final Countdown's moving on. He's in the Final Countdown of the songs. Next, we had Seven Nation Army versus Through the Fire and Flames. Although Through the Fire and Flames is quite hyped, we couldn't pull through. Seven Nation Army did take the win on that one. And to finish off this week's matches, Sweet Caroline versus Pretty Fly, in parentheses, for a white guy. Pretty Fly, it wasn't looking too fly for them.
The white guys were not fly.
Sweet Caroline took the dub on that one. And so Hannah seems to have disappeared, but that's fine. But so that is
Sorry.
our final matchups. I'll throw that back on the screen again. So next week we have polls open on Friday and close on Tuesday. We are now into the quarterfinals with Hey Baby versus Take On Me, Holiday versus Crazy Train, Neck versus Final Countdown, and Seven Nation Army versus Sweet Caroline. Don't forget to vote. And yeah, alrighty. So there's your
We got
update.
We got
The
some
best
good
part about these
matchups.
polls, we not only do we have some good matchups, I'd say these were pretty accurate takes by the wider band community, because we were averaging over 500 votes for every song. So
Which is insane.
Yeah.
you guys know what's up.
Yeah.
The people
will
have
say-
spoken.
I will say I'm sorry that we didn't include Keg in the Closet. I mean, but that
Yes.
would only be Big Ten people that would vote for that.
Yeah.
So sorry
And
to all of you.
I don't think any band has ever played that in the stands, so I don't think that would
Nor
count.
should they.
If you don't know what it is not the Kenny Chesney song.
Nope, it's so much better.
Anyway, alrighty, Alex, what else is up for us on the list of topics for the day?
Well, can we have a moment of silence for 3-Bit Valley? Just
3-Bit Valley.
moment of silence. Pour one
I'd
out
like
for
some
3-Bit
F's
Valley.
in the chat. Please drop your F's in the chat.
5-second moment of silence for 3-Bit.
I mean, I said that we said that they would win out.
That's
Well-
true.
And
they
they did.
win out.
True.
Well,
true.
technically they
They
won
did.
out. Technically they won
For
out, but
everybody
unfortunately,
who does not follow the MVC, which I
First of all,
can't
what are you
imagine
doing?
why you would not be following the Missouri Valley Conference, the most exciting conference in the entire country. There was an unfortunate
Shameless
incident where
plug.
you and I, in the conference tournament, things were looking great for the Cats. We won our first game, headed into a matchup with Drake. Almost exactly 1 year to the day since we lost to Drake in the tournament. So obviously the Cats were coming for some revenge. We were very excited. There was a false positive COVID test, which according to the Missouri Valley Conference rules, like, that's okay. They proved it was like a false positive, like, no worries. The city of St. Louis, where the tournament was being held, had different contact tracing protocols. And because of those tracing protocols and different measures they had in place, you and I was not allowed to play the game. And please don't, like, I'm not faulting the city of St. Louis. Obviously, like, we're in a pandemic. Whatever regulations need to be taken to keep people safe, obviously 100% necessary, fully support that. What I do not support, though, is the Missouri Valley Conference did not check the rules in the city of St. Louis. Guess where the Missouri Valley Conference is based out of? The city of St. Louis.
Absolute
So-
fools over there in MVC land.
Absolutely right.
just some stupidity,
The worst
go.
part
Big
is-
stupidity. Big stupid.
worst
F's in the
part-
chat for the MVC.
The worst part is, I mean, I keep saying the worst part. All of it's the worst part because 3-Bit Valley is dead.
But wait, it gets
Is
worse.
that Bradley had the same situation before their game, but nobody caught it, so Bradley still got to play. So once again, drop your F's in the chat for
F's
3-Bit
in the
Valley.
chat.
Um,
F's in the chat, but
very
we do
sad.
prevail, and luckily it was still a 2-Bit Valley.
Yeah, it was still a 2-Bit Valley. And you and I technically, they left the conference tournament with 100% win rate. So I have deemed them co-champions with Loyola. Therefore, I think we should be like UCF style and just hang a banner in our
Honestly,
rafters
do it.
for that.
Honestly,
Conference tournament
honestly,
champions,
we're not gonna-
2021.
It's the same way
Not gonna
that
contest.
it's the same way that I claim the Big Ten championship, the Big Ten tournament championship of last year for Rutgers, because although the game never started, Rutgers was the highest seeded team to take the court. Because like as they
There
were
you
as they were
go.
warming up, it was the 8 versus 9 matchup, and they as they were warming up, the game was called off. And we were the 8 seed. Michigan was the 9 seed. The only games before that were the 10 versus 14 play-in games the day before. And so, we can claim the title just like
Congratulations
just
to
like you and I can.
Rutgers.
Yeah, Big
Congratulations,
Ten champions
Rutgers.
2020.
Also, big congratulations to Rutgers for making the tournament for the first time since 1991. Big things going on
30
there.
years.
And the women's team. Both teams
Yeah.
made it.
Both.
Women-
The women's
men's-
team hasn't had as much of a drought. I think they had a
Well,
1 year
yeah, I
drought
mean, they're pretty
that was
consistent.
caused by COVID. But it's still impressive to make it. But huge shout out to my main man, Steve Peichel, for finally turning around this program and giving us in the Garden State something to be proud of, because we know that football hasn't done that so far. But I believe in Greg Schiano.
Also, another Rutgers thing to give a shout out to. We're showering all this love and praise on Craig's
Bring it
alma
on,
mater
bring it on,
tonight.
bring it on.
Gio Baker clapping back at John Rothstein on Twitter.
Gio Baker came from the top
I
rope and
respect it.
absolutely suplexed John Rothstein.
Gio Baker is an
I respect it a
absolute
great deal.
king. If I was allowed to, I would buy that man a steak, but that would obviously violate the NCAA rules. So, Gio, when
can
you
buy him a steak after he
when you
graduates.
graduate, Gio, come find me. I'll buy you a steak.
If you're listening, Gio, first off, hello, how are you doing? Second off,
Second of all, shouldn't you be practicing? You got a big game coming up.
I don't know. Maybe I mean it is like what, like 6.
Hopefully they're getting better food.
Yeah,
Um,
hopefully.
You were talking about the steak, and I was like, you know what?
I mean, I don't know if any of you guys saw Jordan Bohannon from Iowa. He was on some
He needs
live
to
show.
stop talking.
No,
Just
no. He was going through
right.
the bag that the NCAA gave everybody, and there were like 4 sticks of deodorant. And,
Oh,
like,
yeah, I mean,
some, like,
yeah, that
body
part's
wash.
true.
It's like I get it. You're a basketball player. You're gonna be sweating a lot, but like maybe give them something more than just a bunch of deodorant to remember.
You know that they're not like he knew what he signed up for.
Yeah, I know, but like
I mean, obviously he
I
didn't
mean,
sign up for COVID, but like
I think that perhaps instead of giving them 4 sticks of deodorant, they should have perhaps had more adequate portion sizes for college basketball players.
Yeah,
That
the
is
meals have
true.
also been quite small, I've heard. So hopefully, as we get down to the Final Four and the championship game, the players are able to still compete and not just like pass out from like malnutrition.
yeah. I will say Jordan is also the same person who I believe in 2019 stole, how they usually have like a bunch of March Madness branded insignia just on a bunch of different things. So
Like
they had a
towels?
March Madness rug inside of one of like the team locker rooms, and he stole it. And then the NCAA came after him, understandably so, and he got all pissed off at them for it. And then there was a guy on Maryland who did the exact same thing. I don't know if he got caught for it because he wasn't nearly as prominent, but I was just like, I mean, like I would do the same thing if I was in his position, but like
As you sit there
Didn't
with
you
a
actually
stolen
do
March Madness
the stolen
towel
March
around
Madness
your neck.
towel around
hey,
your neck?
I didn't steal it. I asked nicely to a security guard in Jacksonville. He had it. I did not go on the bench and get it.
How
Therefore,
did he get that out of there, though? I feel like a rug is like a considerable.
So
Yeah, you
basically,
can
what
throw
it
it in your
was,
duffel
That's a team effort. That is a group effort. and I
it's not a
respect
group.
that.
No, it was actually a lot more simple than you think. So he grabbed it off the bench, which was like it was like the last seat on the bench. Then he grabbed it. We were basically like right near where the bench was. He was basically right in front of our little box.
Oh, I was
where
talking about the
captain
rug.
was sitting.
I was talking about the rug.
Oh, I have no clue how he got the rug out, but it was quite impressive.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean, but like
But yeah, no,
the thing is
this
that
was-
if
this-
you look
this
like
was
you know,
easy.
if you look like you know what you're doing, nobody's gonna question you in most of those situations. Especially if you're like one of the athletes, no one's gonna question you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
that's how it is.
this thing was gotten out legally.
There's a running joke at UNI to this day, actually. If you're wearing khakis and a purple UNI polo and you just walk confidently, you can get in anywhere on this campus. Like, that's not a recommend. You should not do that. I'm not recommending you do that. I'm just throwing that out there. That is a popular opinion amongst students. It's not something that should be followed.
That reminds me of like all those videos
Please
on
don't
YouTube
report me.
from like of like people like walking into different things like theme parks and like expensive fancy venues and whatnot in like high visibility vests with like a clipboard. They just walk right in, like skip the lines at Disney World, walk right in. I wouldn't say to do it. I'm not saying that you should do it, but there are people who have done it and posted it to YouTube. So like, if you look like you're playing the part, no one's gonna stop and question you. And that's probably how he took the rug. Like he probably just grabbed it and confidently walked out.
Or like he had it in a bag, like he put it in a bag somewhere. Like luckily I brought another towel with me, and I was trying to be smart about it because I knew that the NCAA had changed up their policy in terms of what the drink sponsor was. So I had a Gatorade towel, and then I put a bunch of Powerade logos on it, only to find out that it was actually sponsored by Body Armor now. But somehow I still got the Gatorade/Powerade towel in, and then I just put this inside of the towel and walked out with it. And no one said anything because I had like a crap ton of stuff on.
See, what I did in St. Louis actually is we like had our cases in the pit with us, and I had like there's a bag on my trumpet case that's supposed to be like a mute bag where I just throw all my crap in there. I just put like my shirt and stuff inside.
Okay.
I've had moments where like I remember I was walking to class one time last year and I saw somebody out of the corner of my eye wearing a purple polo and black slacks. And I immediately like looked over, and it wasn't even like, it was just a normal guy wearing a purple polo and black slacks. But in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I missing? Like, did I forget about something? Like,
Authority figure.
I was like, oh my God, what did I not know about? And it was just some random person.
Have you ever seen somebody speaking of that, have you ever seen somebody walking around campus in band apparel that isn't in band?
No.
Yes.
Maybe.
It's always confusing.
It's
like
very
funny though, because like
confusing.
the band has fans, but also a lot of times it's like their significant others, like band shirt or whatever. I like to-
okay.
Yeah.
I know
Now,
like a decent amount of.
now I can say yes to that.
I think just because of the nature of my job within the PMB, where I'm literally like looking at everyone's faces through my camera, I feel like I can recognize just about everybody. But every once in a while, there's somebody on campus who makes me like double take, and I'm like, wait a second,
Yeah, and it's
you are not in my band.
yeah, it's like I know the band, and you are not one of us. I see
No.
you are wearing that shirt that says Rutgers
Sus,
band.
imposter,
Sus.
to
Exactly.
reference that game the youths play,
The
The
youths.
youths.
Among Us.
I will say that we were talking about things that we've gotten from events that we've gone to. I didn't like take it from anybody. I was on the field after the Las Vegas Bowl and I found a ticket. So somebody had dropped their ticket. So I like picked it up and I took it with me as a souvenir just because obviously I didn't get a ticket. So now I have one just to like.
What if you like Polar Expressed somebody there? They
Well-
were not able. Ticket gone.
The game
Getting
was
launched
over.
Off a train by Tom Hanks.
I do that all the time. I find like luckily you can find tickets on the ground. Like after the tournament game, literally as we were going out to our bus, there was a random ticket that was just on the grass outside of the stadium, and I was like,
One thing
Nice.
that I've seen people do that I find that I've always found super gross, and now through the lens of like COVID, it's
What?
even worse. Is so when when the band would leave the stadium, we would go up through the stands and out. We would come in at field level like through the tunnels, but then we'd go up and out back to the to the
Yeah.
road. And so when we were going up, there were some people that would like go and they'd grab like souvenir cups that were like left on the bleachers, and it's like you don't know who was drinking out of that. You don't know what they were drinking out of that. Like there
But you
wasn't
cleaned it
alcohol
out
sales
afterwards.
in the thing, but like there was definitely alcohol in some of those cups you could smell, and you're like, there's definitely some like nasty stuff in here. And I don't know, the idea of picking up a dirty cup off of the bleachers after a football game, it just seems so gross.
Not for me.
Not for
Craig.
me.
Yeah.
Craig, the way to do it is basically you would go up into the bathroom and then clean the cup out,
No, but see, they
get
wouldn't.
rid of
Like,
everything out of it, and then go back and then clean
Hey,
it.
let us know in the comments. It's like, are you somebody? Would you take like a souvenir cup or something? Like, let us know. Weigh in on this.
I wa-
Personally, if it was something really dope, I would probably be like, just don't think about how nasty it is, and I would do it. But like cups, I don't know if I could do a cup, especially in the times before COVID. Probably yes, but after COVID, I'm like,
I don't know if we've done like souvenir cups before, but before games, they'll every once in a while they'll do like knit hats. They'll hand out knit hats to like the first however many people that come in. And like
yeah.
I usually just get my own. But I have like a pom-pom that I found on a seat.
Yeah. I mean,
and see, that's like tame enough. I would
Yeah.
take a pom pom. That's happened to me in McLeod before. Like those little like roller banners that say like State Farm on one side, like those. And we have like the arm sleeves. A lot of times we get them first because the band call time is earlier. But if there's something like dope like that where I didn't get a chance to grab it, it's like left in the stands, everyone's gone. Like
Yeah.
I'll probably take it. Obviously, like not anything like valuable, just like something free the school handed out.
but also
Like I have
like,
my little my UNI shooting sleeve.
but, like also you're not putting those in your mouth. So
Yeah, that's true too. I would not put any
Yeah.
of those things in my
Yeah.
mouth.
Kind of gross.
Yeah, I always
Should move
try
on.
every time I go to like a stadium that's not my stadium. I always try and get a souvenir cup. I have one from Maryland from when I was down there a few years ago. I've got one from Wisconsin, one from Indiana. I actually don't
I
know
do
what
the
my
same-
Indiana one is, but I know I have.
I
it.
do the same thing, Craig. Like, I
mean,
mean, with me, I like collecting the stuff because then, like, it's cool to see, like, when you look back through, like, your college career, you're like, oh, look at because Maryland usually has, like, one for football, one for basketball, one for, like they have different ones for different things.
Yeah.
So if there's
I
an
think-
extra one, I'll take it.
I think I took some turf from Kinnick, if I remember correctly.
Well, your shoe probably did.
No, that's true. I guess it's all my
Yeah.
shoes because they have we don't have at UNI. Our turf is like woven turf, so we don't have the little turf turds or whatever. But at Kinnick, they everywhere, and we have white uniform pants, so it was
Oh,
it was a
probably
problem.
speckly. Yeah, I bet.
Very. But you know, I
There's a
don't
lot of stuff
really.
going on.
The stadiums I've gone to, I guess I haven't necessarily collected something specific, but like when we go to the conference tournaments, my regret forever from my first conference tournament as a freshman, I didn't know that you could buy shirts, so I didn't bring money for a shirt. So I don't have a conference shirt for my freshman year, and that was the year we went to the championship for the women's tournament. So that was unfortunate, but then every year I like buy a shirt. So I
That's
have, like,
why I got
really
this
cool,
thing.
I have this cool like Valley Runs Deep shirt from the women's tournament. My one from Arch Madness is nowhere near as cool and also cursed. So
I should have gotten. I know when I was in Pasadena, there were like merch trucks and stuff that was like Rose Parade stuff, and I didn't get one. I didn't get a shirt, and I like should have. And I
that time when I was
Passed it up.
because when I was in high school, I didn't like, or in middle school, I didn't for a long time. I didn't do stuff that had shirts or had commemorative shirts. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll get a shirt. So I'm hoping that I'll get to be on the men's tournament band next year, and I'll get to go to. Maybe there'll be a cool Arch Madness shirt next year, or maybe I'll be able to get a cool March Madness shirt next year.
I mean,
I
we'll
have
have
a
AJ.
couple.
Yeah.
We'll have AJ
I have a
Green.
couple.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks for the flex, Alex. Thank you.
No, I'm not flexing. Jeez. This was
I'm
literally a
flexing.
goal of mine since freshman year because I saw those on the bench freshman year and I was like, I want one. That was like the next time Maryland goes back to the tournament and I get to be in band, I'm getting one. I don't care how it happens. I'm getting one. And I even told my band director that, my pep band director, and he was like, just don't let me know about it and you're fine. And then I was like, cool. And then I got it. And then he looked at me when I got it back, like when we got back to the hotel and I finally showed him it. He just looked at me with both a look of disappointment and also just like one of those things where it's like a dad like looking at their kid where it's like I'm proud of you, but like I'm also really disappointed at you. And that's what I kind of feel like it was a combination of.
Yeah,
so interesting.
I was so close to buying a conference tournament shirt last year. It was
Should have bought it.
how was I supposed to know the tournament was going to get shut down? So the very first night of the tournament, we got there. We went to see the Nebraska versus Indiana game that was happening that night. I think that was the 11 versus 14 seed game, and that was the last game to happen of the tournament. And so we were just going, and everyone was like, "Oh, you know what? I really want to get these, but they're kind of expensive. Let's see how much money we've got kind of at the end of it." Because we'd get like per diems. We called them Basito bucks because our director's name was Dr. Basito. So they were Basito bucks. So we were like, oh, let's see how many Basito bucks we have left at the end of the, not at the end of the tournament, obviously. We don't know how long we're going to stay. But after we're a day in, let's see, just to make sure we don't spend too much early on. So the plan was the next day to go back and pick one up. Unfortunately, we all know what happened.
I hit my F key in solidarity.
You always got to get it on the first day. Like as soon as you can get it, like that's what I did.
The problem
Because
is they were so expensive. It was so
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is there
I
all
could
the
care less.
tournament
I was
shirts
just
are
like, I want it.
expensive, but I was also like, one year we ran into the problem is they ran out of sizes, and you and I wasn't playing until noon on Friday, so the tournament started the day before, and I think there was a morning game before us. So I was like, oh man, like I don't want to like not get a shirt because they're out of my size. Because if I'm paying that much for a shirt, it better fit.
Yeah.
So mine, although it was unfortunate, because we were like literally from the moment we stepped foot in Enterprise Center, we were like, Jack, can we go get a shirt? Can we go get our shirts? Can we go get our shirts? And Jack, who's our GA, and our GAs are like in charge on our pep band trip, and he was like, yes, go get your shirt. Like just be back in 10 minutes. So we got like sprint up to the concourse and we like buy our shirts and we come back down. And of course, then you and I got blown out. So should have waited on the shirt. It was cursed from the start.
It truly was. It truly was cursed.
Do we? I have two things because I want to talk about the bid stealers because I mean.
I want to talk about Oregon State.
Oh, we can talk about the Beavs
Beavs!
for a little bit.
Go Beavs.
Go Beavs.
That's basically what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, Savannah.
And their
Stole your thunder.
NC Oregon State talk. They are in the tournament. Go Beavs.
I did
do we
not
want
pick
to-
them, unfortunately, to win any
Oh,
games.
one second.
picking with my
Savannah,
brain,
we
not
can't
my
hear
heart.
you.
I heard
We can't,
her.
yeah, we can't hear you.
Oh.
You're talking but making no sound. Savannah's probably just saying, no,
No.
we cannot hear you now.
Oh, geez. Well, go Beavs.
Viewers, now we get to mime along with Savannah because guess what Savannah's trying to tell us. But yeah, go Beavs. That was so fun.
That's
Beavs.
probably what she's trying to tell us.
Go Beavs.
Hey, we can hear you again.
There you go.
Hey,
Oh,
back.
okay. I was about to be so sad. Okay, but I think I'm obviously really pulling for Oregon State in the tournament because they were seeded last in the Pac-12. They started last in the Pac-12, and they like made their way up there, and they look like they're playing so well too. And I just really enjoy watching them play. I just wish that like the Oregon State band was able to go to the tournament. You know,
Mhm.
that would have been really cool because they have a great band and stuff. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching them play. It was a bid Steeler team, but it was exciting. I like to see that happen, especially when my own team is like not doing well. Basically, what happened is Oregon State and Washington just kind of like swapped spots from like beginning of end to season. So I am on the Beav train. I am a #1 Beaver fan.
Beefs up.
Beavs
yeah,
up.
yeah,
Beavs up, ducks down.
yeah.
Always.
That's how you do it.
That's all I have to say.
Well,
But yeah, go
We
Beavs.
have I'm in the tournament, honestly, like as much as there's bid stealing, like that was a bid I was fine with getting stolen. Like, go ahead, Beavs. And then we had Drake has a play-in game. Now, as you guys know, not a fan of Drake, but I'll allow it. They're playing Wichita State, who was you and I's former rival when they were in the Missouri Valley Conference. So it's our current rival versus our former rival. Kind of hoping for a tie.
Against
hoping
one of
both
my
teams
rivals.
lose.
If they win,
to go
That's
against
what a
USC.
no-win
So,
situation. I don't know who I'm gonna pick
Absolutely
for that
right.
one.
One of my rivals is in a very
normally I do
similar
not believe
situation.
in a no-win situation, but no.
One of my rivals is in
This one.
one of my former rivals.
Seton
is going against one of my
Hall.
No, not Seton Hall.
no.
Here's a clue. It's Maryland.
Wait, how is it a former? That doesn't make
No,
any sense.
you're not the former rival. Your
Oh,
opponent.
UConn.
Yeah. So, we all know who I'm going to be rooting for in that one. Here's a clue.
The women's team. Go
Huskies.
UConn.
I was going to say not
Actually, go
Maryland,
Maryland.
but
Go Maryland in the women's tournament. I don't.
I
care if
believe
UConn's the
actually,
better
I
team.
think I picked UConn to win that game.
yeah.
Sorry,
Oh, that's
Maryland.
fine. I want all of you to pick UConn. Like
Okay,
I'm probably gonna
well,
pick UConn anyways.
did,
because
don't worry.
I just have no faith in Maryland, so it's fine.
You should.
I
Why
wish
not?
that-
You
I
should.
wish that they
Because
let
there's
us
so many
pick-
things that are wrong with them.
Because it's your school and that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am excited for the Loyola Ramblers, though. Whatever conference tournament's done, I will cheer for Loyola in the tournament because I like Loyola when we're not playing Loyola.
They
So
playing
I think
Georgia
I had
Tech.
them
I think
going
they-
kind of far in my bracket.
okay, here's the thing.
they
Loyola,
playing?
I don't remember who they're playing game, but if they win,
Georgia Tech?
they're not. It's
I
not
think
a
so.
playing game. I believe it's Georgia Tech.
They're a 9
is.
seed. They're playing an 8 seed.
Yeah, okay, here's what I'm upset about. Loyola is better than a 9 seed. They should have been at least a 6 seed, I think. Because here's
Fair.
the thing, is if
They
you
were
look at the way
ranked.
Loyola plays, yeah, they were ranked through the entire last part of the season. Drake was also ranked through the last part of the season, and Drake got a play-in
Right.
game, which Drake, what did they were
Oh
kind of
no,
struggling
no,
at the
they're an
end
8
there.
seed. They're an 8 seed. I mean, I don't really know if that really changes anything, but they're an 8 seed.
No, like I know they're an 8 or I knew they were an 8 or a 9 seed. They should be higher. Just like they're a much better team than they're
they
getting
should be
credit
at
for,
least.
especially since they were ranked. Like I feel like they're on par with San Diego State, and San Diego State's a 6 seed. So plus here's the other problem is that if they win I believe their first game or their first 2 games, they have to play Illinois, which is a terrible matchup for everybody living in the state of Illinois because Loyola's in Chicago. So that
But
would
I
have been
feel like
a
more
great
people-
primetime game.
I think they're
I
better
feel
than
like more
UConn and
people
they're better
would
than
care
Clemson.
about, Illinois more than Loyola. Just
Yeah, they're bigger in Chicago. I just know that there's a lot of people publicly who were like, yeah, this is like a crappy kind of matchup for so early in it.
Yeah,
because there's enough pull for both
Yeah.
teams.
I was gonna bring up. I wanted to talk about Gonzaga for a second because
Zags.
it's an interesting situation for me thinking about Gonzaga because like they're historically like when they've made it to the tournament they've been good for a while, but they haven't there's always been something where they just can't get to the national championship or they can't win the national championship. So even in like the first round, I feel like I can't trust them. Even though they're great, they're like a great team, but their track record, I'm just nervous to like pick them over anybody else because I feel like they're gonna mess it up.
I have them losing to Illinois in the championship.
Wow, I had them beating Illinois in the championship.
I think that Illinois is the best team
Interesting.
in the nation by far.
I have made none of
here's
my
what
picks
else I
yet.
know.
Illinois is
about.
so good.
Savannah's just like taking notes on what we're saying.
Yeah, we're all
She can
competing
fill
with
it.
each other.
think
You guys
that-
are just spilling everything to me.
I think
when
that
we're in the
Iowa
competition.
State. I think I think that Iowa could lose either in the round of 32 or in the Sweet 16.
I was gonna say when you said Iowa State, I was like, Iowa is the number 2 seed. Iowa State had 2 wins this season.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I
I
realized
think
what
Iowa State has a chance to win the Natty.
No,
I
I
but
think it's gonna be Gonzaga
honestly,
and the Beavers in the
I don't
final.
think Iowa's that good. I don't think that they're that good at all.
I
They
think
have a weakness for sure.
yeah.
Luka
They're not
Garza.
consistent.
Yeah,
I
they-
wouldn't say
I'd
he's
say
weak.
they're a really good
He's
team.
not
They're just like
consistent.
Savannah said, inconsistent. It's the consistency
Yeah.
that hurts them. But I would say that if they can get over that issue, then they would jump a level.
They rely
would be-
too much on one person. That's the problem with them.
I disagree. I mean,
even if that person is really
I
good,
think
they
it's-
still rely
no,
on.
I think it's kind
way
of
too
an
much on
even-
one person.
I think it's kind of an even thing where they're all. I think as a group, they're either really hot or really cold. Like they kind of feed off one another. So it's not so much like one person is not doing well and it's dragging the whole team down. It's like, oh, so and so made a silly mistake, so everyone else is like rattled by that, and they're all making mistakes. Although I know that we're also gonna have to watch COVID be a factor too, because there's already, what was it, Oklahoma? Like their leading scorer has COVID, so he's gonna miss at least the first 2 rounds.
And the coach,
Oh,
the
I
head
don't-
coach of the UConn women's basketball team, tested
Mm-hmm.
positive yesterday or the day
Gino
before.
tested positive.
Yeah, a couple days
Maryland's
ago.
got a
Or yesterday.
chance, which I shouldn't say, but they got a chance now.
I think it's interesting,
Also get
especially
better,
this
Gino.
year, considering how many conferences like really limited their non-conference play, how that's gonna show up as a problem in the tournament because we really
Mhm.
it's such a question mark, like it's hard to predict when like most of these teams have all like played the same people like so many times to
Exactly.
That's why
try to
Gonzaga is going to
limit.
be really good. Like, I don't know if they're going to win, but because of how good their schedule was, how good their non-conference schedule was, and how well they played against those non-conference teams, I think they're going to be really good.
I feel like the whole like trying to stick within the conferences too. I feel like that really limited a lot of mid-majors in terms of getting at-large bids this year, just because like they didn't have those teams to prove themselves against this year. Because a lot of the bigger teams are like, hey, these games only have the potential to hurt us. Because if they win, it's like, oh, it was a cupcake game. You're supposed to win. If they lose, they look terrible because they lost to a mid-major team. So then so they were like, oh, with COVID, like we're just not going to schedule them, or we're going to schedule like 2 of them and then be done. So a lot of teams just couldn't really get outside of their bubble. So hopefully next year things will be a little closer to normal. It was just interesting for me looking at the fields because I'm used to seeing a lot more mid-majors than were on there this year. That's also contending with some really strong, like the Big Ten's a really good conference. So that's just how it be.
I'm excited to watch Eastern Washington.
Yeah,
That's really
Aren't
cool.
they a
Oh, well,
14?
Will
Oh,
in the
Eags.
chat said that they're gonna go to the Natty against Cleveland State. If you take a look at the
Right.
chat,
Maybe
100% correct, Will. I think
Are-
that
2-14
Wait,
seeds.
Wait, are the
Cleveland
Eagles
State.
and
are
Gonzaga?
the
They're on
Eagles.
opposite sides of the bracket, right?
Are
I
they?
think so.
yeah, I
Oh,
think so.
God.
Go
A
Eags.
Washington final, but it's not Washington State or Washington.
Craig, how confident are you
Both of
about
the
this
other
right now?
teams.
I'm pretty confident that we can make it at least a couple rounds. I don't think we'll get past the Sweet 16, but the first hurdle to cross was just make the
Getting
tournament for the first time in 3 decades, and we did it. But we're still gonna go and we're gonna kick Clemson's butt. Not Cleveland State.
I have
Clemson's a
a
streaky
weird
team.
critique. I have a weird critique of Eastern
Of who?
Washington.
Mhm.
Oh, Eastern
And
Washington.
it's that it's so impossible to find pictures on their athletics website. of their team. And here's why I have beef with this. So, as I mentioned last week, for Mid-Major Madness, I like run their Instagram and I do a lot of graphic design for them. And for every team that qualified, I made this fun little ticket punched graphic with like somebody from their team. Well, if it's not in our database from SB Nation, I have to go try and find on their athletics website so I know who to credit, because we don't want to like get into the weeds with that. I can't get sued. I don't have money to get sued. And Eastern Washington took me like 45 minutes. And you know what? That is way too dang long. I should be able to click on your athletics website and click on a photo section and just post some photos real quick. Terrible. But I did also learn most mid-majors use one of like 2 or 3, and I think even the high majors, like web like design companies, because all of them, there are like 3 possible ways it looks, just in different colors.
I was comparing Oregon's basketball roster to Rutgers, because there's a player, a former captain of the Rutgers team, who decided to up and transfer one day, and now we've got a player that has the same last name as him. So I was like pulling him up to compare them and like, do like a Snapchat of like, yo, F this guy is better and whatnot. Because there was also a chance that we were going to be playing them in the first round. That obviously didn't end up happening. But so like, while that possibility was still there, I was on like the Oregon hate train more than normal.
I'm the conductor.
And so, you know, I was really riding that Oregon hate train. But I had the 2 websites pulled side by side, and I was like, wait a minute, these are the same thing, except that's green and that's red, and those are different logos. But yeah, I don't know who's.
They're all the
Greg
same.
was in pain. I will also say. Sorry, wait, quickly. I will also say one thing about the Maryland game that I am 100% scared about is that the game is being played at Mackey Arena, which for those that don't know is where Purdue plays, and Maryland sucks there. So that's also why I'm expecting them to lose, because they can't win there.
Imagine
no crowd, though.
Mackey.
That's a positive thing.
I mean, it could be Maryland women's basketball, but see, that's all I have now is just a women's team.
I mean, they're like
At least you
legitimately one of the best teams in the country, though.
They're a 2 seed right
like
now.
The
I
best
think
team.
they should be a 1 seed, because there was, I think, another 1 seed that got there were like a couple teams that could have made it. I really wish they would have been a 1 seed, but they have the highest scoring offense in the nation and a girl who's shooting 50+% from 3. So I'm really hoping that they make UConn fans cry, because they're not in the same bracket, which means they could play each other in the Final Four.
I don't know.
I think it was a really close call, though, because there's a lot of really good women's basketball teams this year. Because I think the 1 seeds were South Carolina, NC State, UConn, and Stanford.
Oh, NC State was the other one. Okay, then that makes sense. That makes sense. I thought it was going to be A&M, and A&M literally lost before the SEC tournament final. So I was like, why would they get?
I think A&M was a 2 seed. Because
Okay,
I watched the selection show, and if my memory serves me, I think that's
fine. Then those 4 seeds are 100% credible. If it was A&M, I would have like thrown something.
Yeah,
So-
I think for both the men's tournament and the women's tournament, they should do a major restructuring of it. Originally, I was for saying that every single team makes it into a single elimination tournament, starting with the first 150. You know, I think it's about 100 players.
256, you said.
No, so they're the first teams 257 through up would play for play-in games. And then the tournament would then start. I think it would be 8 rounds from the 256 mark. But
so much basketball.
New idea. I think there's 351 D1 basketball programs.
Oh God.
If we do a round robin program, it will have almost 1 game per day all year long. Basketball will never end. Just once a year they'll be like, all right, this guy's the champion now. Round robin, 351 teams.
See, okay, that's what it's going to
That's
feel
too
like
much.
for
That's what
FCS
baseball is.
football and the D1 and the D2 and D3 programs, because literally we have a whole spring season. We'll have championships in like April or May, and then in August we're going to be like, all right, we're back, going for the natty again.
Those players are going to be tired. And like people who get
like, a little
injuries
worried
are not
about
going to
that.
have a lot of time to like recover. So like that's
no,
something that I'm
and we were
concerned
talking
with.
about that actually. One of my friends she's in athletic. She does athletic training. Is her major, and we were talking about like how a lot of the trainers are really concerned, like especially with sports like volleyball, all these fall sports that got moved to the spring. It's great that they're getting their seasons, but like they're not going to have hardly any off season and time to just like rest and rehab. So hopefully everyone's able to handle that okay. Hopefully they're going to get a little more of a break than they would normally get because they haven't had that off season. But I think it'll be really crazy to watch stuff go down in the fall.
Yeah. I think the one idea that I thought of that I was like, oh, well, this could be a possible solution that would also help, monetarily, because you'd be able to have more games on TV, at least for the people at the top, not for the schools and whatnot. It would definitely hurt the FCS schools. But if they were to do FBS in the fall and FCS in the spring, so then you get the issue of the FCS can't play the FBS teams and like prove to the naysayers that they're actually good programs. Like you lose that ability, but then the people at the top, the big media market people, would be like, more money, I can buy more yachts if we keep the football in the spring. And then you don't have the issue of players not having an off season because their season just gets shifted.
You do have the issue of winter.
And the draft as well.
Yeah, and that's
The
where the
NFL
draft is a
draft.
big part of it.
Yeah, draft is usually mid to late April, which means that the seasons would probably get over in and around, like seasons would still be going on.
Yeah, the seasons are still going on because that's a lot of the top schools this year. Some of their best players opted out of the season because of the draft. Because it's like UNI lost players, North Dakota State lost players. I think like all the teams in like the top 5 right now lost a lot of their good players.
It would definitely
Not
be
that
something.
our current players aren't good.
It would definitely be
It's a
something to that would be a challenge to deal with the draft. But I think there's definitely workarounds and definitely other things. Now,
and like how do you have
obviously,
winter marching band?
If we were doing this, if this were to be the plan that the NCAA decided to go with, they would. I mean, first of all, they'd already be saying like screw the FCS schools because they lose that ability to actually compete against the FBS programs.
Yeah, I don't like this idea.
But just hear me out. Hear me out for it.
Greg's not in charge of anything, so it's fine. It's just hypothetical.
If we're already screwing over the schools, why don't we just pull their best players into the other programs? Just shift them over.
Okay.
I think that sounds like a terrible idea.
I think it's an absolutely horrible idea.
This sounds like you're attempting. It sounds like you're attempting to erase the FCS, Craig. That's what this seems
D2
like.
plus?
Are you attempting to erase?
Craig, that's not how it is. It's
no,
fine.
I'm not trying to erase the FCS.
I'm going to blocked, reported.
I'm not.
Oh, that took me a second to realize what that even meant. Like I'm just sitting here like.
I'm just.
Yeah, no, that's not it. That would
like a possible way to avoid the injury crisis that's going to happen to the FCS in the fall. To avoid the absolute.
They're not going to be able to
disruption
avoid it. It's just, it is what it is. If they're planning on having a season as it is, then players are just going to have to be more careful in off-season training.
Yeah.
Like that might mean like people leave for the draft like for this season now. It might also happen next season considering the short amount of time.
I mean,
But,
COVID's just screwing everything up. Like, it's not even worth it to try to, like, I mean, sometimes the workarounds just aren't possible, so you just have to deal with the consequences of what's going on.
I don't know, full reboot.
I think
Let's
next
eliminate
season
the
will
NCAA.
definitely be.
Yeah.
Tear it all
I'll
down.
run everything.
We're taking it all apart.
Craig's just going to make Rutgers
also,
the only football school.
Hey, back to the way it was.
That's true. Rutgers you can't lose a football game if you're the only football team.
Or you just play NFL teams.
We're in the future.
And they just beat you for sport.
Well,
Also,
the difference
guys,
is that we wouldn't play NFL teams because the NFL teams wouldn't exist because they wouldn't have rosters because there'd only be one college team to pull from.
Can we please have the Detroit Lions exist still? Like, can we? I just want one good season.
We can have the Lions.
Yeah, but I feel like that would just be like pain for Detroit fans. Like, I don't want to put.
We're in pain anyway,
Okay.
so.
I mean,
I literally all sports teams I'm a fan of. I'm always in pain with all my sports teams.
I would rather watch my team lose than not see my team play, though.
Exactly.
Every single
that's
time.
how it was with UNI this year. I would rather watch UNI lose than not get to see them play. But you know what, guys? Speaking of a little bit of basketball, we had some great comments in the chat that I missed because I got distracted. So sorry, people in the chat.
I really hope that they roasted
I
me.
really agree with Veronica that Iowa State will win the national championship, or Hartford. UMBC could come in for the top row from the top row. I would like to see it again. I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely, as soon as they're like, oh, it's like the 2-year anniversary, 3-year anniversary of that game. So of course I was retweeting the clips from it, and I watched it every time it popped up on my feed. It's what you do. And Oral Roberts versus Iona in the final. Once again, I would like that. I would like to watch that.
No one likes
I
it.
personally do not believe that Iona exists. I think somebody once made
Veronica and Will are
a
serving up hot
typo.
takes tonight.
Somebody once made a typo when trying to type Iowa, and they just ran with the joke. Iona's not
actually,
real.
a funny thing about that is they're a mid-major, so I had to make their graphic and stuff. In the caption, I kept typing Iona, and my autocorrect kept changing it to Iowa. I was like, no.
I also want to
Only
say
Iona.
on our Twitter at College Band RDO, we tweeted out the video, the 10 years since the Huskies won their conference championship with the cold-blooded buzzer beater, Isaiah Thomas.
God,
I have
love
that
this
jersey.
song.
I have the same exact jersey that they had, the blackout Nike jersey, and I have the hat, the Pac-10 championship hat. And
Did you guys see that?
I watched
that's
that
how I
like 50
was with
times in a row.
That's how I am with that with the Paul Jesperson clip where he hits that half court for them to win it. I literally, anytime it shows up, I just like watch it 10 times. I just like nod approvingly, and then I keep scrolling.
Yeah.
I
remember that so
good
vividly.
memories.
Whenever I see like a crazy like half court shot or something like that to win a game, it fills me with pain because it reminds me of, I think it was 2019 against Iowa, where
Craig,
we
don't need to talk about that for yourself. Come on.
We took the game-winning shot, or what would be the game-winning shot, except Iowa was like, nah, that's not the game-winning shot. This is. And then they yeeted the ball.
Come on, Craig, you don't need to hurt
from
yourself.
from their baseline across
Craig, don't hurt yourself
to the other
like that.
corner. And then I think it was Joe Wieskamp. I was just like, up.
You don't need to acknowledge his existence.
Won the game.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Craig. I'm so sorry.
Did you guys see
we
the video?
we haven't
I've been
one that could have been painful is Jordan Poole when he hit that half court he hit that crazy 3 for Michigan to win it, and that was the year they ended up going to the national championship too, I think. Because I remember I was sitting in the living room watching that with my dad because we're big Michigan fans, and we were literally just so sad. We were just like, we're gonna see this through to the bitter end. There's no way Michigan can come back from this. And then Jordan like just hits this crazy shot, and it's like 10:30 at night our time, and we're like jumping around, like screaming and yelling. It was beautiful. My favorite part of it actually is my brother. I think he was at Iowa State at the time, so he was like a sophomore or something. We had different spring breaks, so he didn't come home. He had turned the game off in his dorm room because he was mad that they were going to lose. So then we call and we're like, did you see it? Did you see it? He was like, see what? Michigan lost. I'm going to bed. So, and then as soon as we told him, we were like, no, like they won. They hit a crazy shot. He thought we were lying. We were not. So that's one of my favorite memories with that. That's one of my favorite moments.
Every time I turn off a game, like 20 minutes later, I'll still just like check the score, just to be like,
you gotta.
I do.
That's how every UNI game is. It's not over until it's over.
Exactly.
Did you guys see the video I tweeted out from that? I think it's Tennessee State, the HBCU that did the I guess their version of "Leave the Door Open" by Silk Sonic, which is Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars. Oh my goodness, that song is so good. And it was even better with the marching band. Like, I don't even know how they were able to do that in that style for this year, but like they killed it. Like oh my God, it sounded so incredible. And like, shout out to, I think they're like the TSU Aristocrats or something like that. But like, y'all are amazing. Like, that was so good. Insane. Just so good.
One of my favorite insane HBCU performances, just one of my favorite all-time marching performances ever, actually. I just remember vividly hearing, I believe it was the Sonic Boom of the South, their version of Hello by Adele. I was a sophomore in high school. that was the first time I knew a trumpet could hit that kind of notes. And I was like, to this day, I'm like, are they, the people who play those notes, are they okay? Are they alive? Did that note like end them? Did they just cease? It's like how I think the people who recorded like the Incredibles soundtrack, like the trumpets who record that, like they probably died.
Probably.
They ceased to exist after
probably-
playing
Oh,
that.
God.
They just
Hit the note and just
they're
poof.
just gone.
Should we pour one out for the musicians that did the Incredible soundtrack? Like,
I will
geez.
toast with my. Oh wait, this is actually I have an Incredibles thing somewhere on this Hollywood Studios mug. So I cheers to them with my Hollywood Studios mug.
The
with
very
Code
first
Red in
song
it.
I ever played in a marching band was the Incredibles theme. Back in
That's actually one of my
2011.
favorites to play.
Oh my God, I've been doing band for a decade. Oh,
Greg.
wow.
That's crazy.
What's it
Greg,
like
don't
to
date
be
yourself
old?
like that.
I'm old.
Come on, you're better than that.
Hey,
That's
if I had the
that's
opportunity,
a
I'd
good
date myself.
point.
I am great.
I didn't mean it like that.
I was
but,
thinking about how I'm gonna be this fall. It will
Do
be
you,
my
buddy?
ninth consecutive season of fall marching band. And I was like, holy cow, I'm old. You know, some of my freshmen actually in the trumpet. I shouldn't say my freshmen, our freshmen trumpet section.
You're just taking ownership of them. They're now your
They were
kin.
they were born after 2000. They're born
Yeah.
after 2000.
Savannah
and I
was
was like,
born
that's so
after
crazy.
2000.
Like,
I was born in 2000.
You were born into that. Okay.
I've
okay,
done
in
6
2000,
marching
like, okay,
falls.
this is like 2002 or
Yeah,
2003.
that's
Something crazy like that. And I was
Those
like,
people are
wow,
toddlers.
that's so like, yeah, I was like, y'all are so young. And then I was like, that's,
The
I
young
was like, talking about how
children.
crazy that was. And they were like, well, what year were you born? I was like, 1998. And they were like, you're so old. And I was like,
I had a realization kind of along those lines the other day that I was like, you know, whenever I'm around my cousins, which I guess at this point it's been like a year because COVID and whatnot. But like I always was very careful with the language that I use. Normally, I'm not the most censored person. I'll use some profanity in my language often. But when when I'm around them, I'd be very careful because I'm like, these are children. But then I
Babies.
had this
think
realization.
of the
like,
children.
like they're turning 18 in a few months. They're going to college next year. But they're
Wow.
toddlers. Like, and and then it's the same thing where like, you know, seeing the freshmen. I was talking to a freshman last year when I was in my 5th year, and he was family friends with, or he was friends with a family friend of mine, with one of their kids. And they just said the last name. And I was like, oh, you're friends with this one. And he was like, oh, no, I think that's his older brother. I'm friends with this guy.
Panic
And it was like,
in that moment.
and it's like, you mean the little one? And he was like, yeah. He's 6'2" now, I think. I don't know. He's freakishly tall. He's not the little one anymore, but I don't know. Time is crazy. The fact that I've been doing band for a decade and just realized that like right now really is freaking me out.
Y'all are watching us have a crisis live.
Yeah.
on
This is
YouTube.
Yeah.
This is the,
I think I figured
Existential
out that I was
crisis.
old.
Yeah.
My roommate and I, we always play a couple rounds of Mario Kart, like just fun, you know, like that's what you do. And I have a like Mario Kart Wii, obviously the superior form of Mario Kart, and we were talking last night about how the version for the Switch, like there's too much like going on it because you have to pick your tires and pick like a glider, and like the courses, like there's so much going on in them, and we were both like, yeah, it's just too much, like you got to keep it simple. And it was in that moment we realized we're old.
It doesn't let
Give
you
me-
fall off the course either. Like that's half the fun is like flying off
You're
the
right.
side. It doesn't like you have to like turn off the setting in the Switch version,
That's dumb.
There's
And, like,
it's
when you
like
fall off
slippery on
Rainbow
the
Road, and then you flame as you're falling.
Yeah, you can't
That's
beat
funny.
that.
That's entertainment value right there. And they just
Launching
got rid
yourself
of it.
right off the edge on DK Summit, it's what you do.
Right.
sometimes
It's
you
like,
just gotta.
give me Coconut Mall over any of the
Sometimes
new
you just gotta
tracks any
get
day of
coconut
the
mold.
week.
You know,
I
you
hate
just got
those TikToks.
coconut
I hate
mold.
those so
Share this
much.
with your friends. The absolute
There's somebody
coconut
who I
mold.
recently found on TikTok. That he's a brass guy. He's got like mellophone videos. I think he's like a trombone and tuba player. I think he's predominantly a tuba player. But I've been watching a bunch of his content, and I just want to give a shout out to him. I think his username is like the yes or something like that. So go check him out. But yeah, I think that's a much better account than any of the accounts that post "You've just been coconut mauled." I hate that TikTok.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
Well, speaking, we were just talking about the time. I think it's about time for us to. Oh, just kidding. My clock is fast. I lied. I thought it was 7 o'clock. It's not. 6:55.
No, we got a couple minutes left, but I think we're
Sorry,
gonna,
everybody.
I know, but I think we're gonna wrap this up in a little bit, anyways.
Yeah.
This is why I can't be trusted to wrap things up.
Oh wait, funny story.
It's not that funny. It's just kind of a
Probably
story.
You got me all
Actually,
hyped for nothing.
I feel like it's funny.
it's well, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna.
Better be
say-
funny. I'm putting money on this.
When I was in middle school, my lunchroom, I went to this private school, okay, and they had in the lunchroom they had these like TV screens, and they thought it would be a good idea to turn on the basketball games during March Madness. So I would go into my classroom and sit in the specific spot so I could watch the game that was happening out through the door in like through the
Yes,
window
but-
in the door and then
Big
into the
brain thinking.
hallway because the TV was out there. And I would do that every single class I went to. I would like kind of like position myself so I could see, at least check on it, because at that point
That's
I've been
brilliant.
making brackets since I was like, I don't know, 12. So I was like invested.
See, that's how I was. I remember because we didn't. A lot of times, my high school or my school district in general, we didn't have spring break. My first real spring break was in college, which is weird. I don't know why that's a thing, but it is.
You didn't have a spring break in high school?
Mm-mm. We'd get like a day or two off for Easter, but that was it.
That sucks.
It kind of does in hindsight. I don't know why we didn't have spring break. Although a lot of times they would like build in, they'd have like a Friday or a Monday built in, and then they'd be like, oh, so we don't have to make up a snow day at the end of the year. They'd tack it on in there. So a lot of times, like we'd have a break day or two built in, we'd just lose them. But the cool teachers were always the ones who it's like, they would like on the projector in the classroom, they'd just pull up whatever game was on. We'd just sit and watch the game because we had we were on block scheduling in my high school, so it was like an hour and a half. So you could get through most of a basketball game in that time. Anytime Iowa made the tournament, because I'm from Eastern Iowa, so lots of people are Hawkeye fans. Like anytime I was in the tournament, the game is on in like every single room in the school.
Yeah.
So fun memories.
Yep. I just want to correct what I said before. The guy's username is yes brass, not the yes yes brass. So just wanted to correct that. But my high school was also on block scheduling, but you know, when Rutgers made the tournament, I don't think, I don't know what my high school did because I wasn't born yet.
It was 1991.
Yeah, although I'm old, I'm not that old. I'm a 97 boy.
This sweatshirt's from 1991.
Wow, that's older than me. That jacket over there, that red and white jacket that's hanging up, it is from '94. I got it. It's like some Nebraska championship jacket. I got it in Wisconsin at a thrift store.
Nice.
When in
I always
doubt.
keep an eye out when I go thrift shopping for like random ones like that.
Yeah, it was $30. It was a pretty good purchase. Blah, I can't talk. Pretty good purchase.
There we go.
Anyway, I think it's 7:59 Eastern. I think it's probably about time we wrap it up. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us, chit-chatting along. And yeah, we got a new episode. It's a great one dropping Friday. Make sure you go check it out when it comes out. Don't forget, follow us on all the social medias. Make sure you smash the subscribe button and hit the like and all that stuff. And Hannah, where can they find us on the other social media platforms?
You can find us on Instagram at College Band Radio. You can obviously find us right here on YouTube at College Band Radio and on Twitter at College Band RDO.
Alrighty, and I think with that, yeah, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, wear a mask, and we will